Hello everyone, my name is Salim and welcome to the Markets Breakdown Analysis for Thursday, the 9th of November 2023. We'll be breaking down charts and show the exact zones where prices will close for potential buys or close below for potential sells as well. So looking at the daily candle for Wednesday, the daily has been bearish, and this is actually really interesting because the daily candle for Tuesday broke the low, broke below this daily range, and then price retraced and formed a daily rejection to the downside. Now what we can see with the Wednesday daily candle is the daily filled this rejection wick that was formed on Tuesday, and more likely will be closing below this rejection wick formed previously on the 24th of October 2023. Now, if we get in this daily candle closing below this rejection wick, the anticipation to see continuation to the downside would be really strong. Now, the only issue we could face here is we might see the following daily candle. For example, we might see the Thursday daily candle forming a daily support, and this is the anticipation based on how the daily candle has been playing so far for the current weekly candle. Because here's the thing, so what we can see is we have three daily candles. So far we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday bearish, and we've had, I'd say, barely no retracement, no top wick has been formed yet on the weekly. So maybe we could see a daily candle for Thursday forming a week daily support, and then potentially having the Friday daily candle to break below the potential support on a daily and breaking below and basically having this clean traffic on the left. Now this is just a anticipation that sometimes I visualize on how candles are printing and how the weekly candle is forming as well. So now to break down the chart and drop it down to the 4-hour time frame, and what we can see here is the most recent 4-hour support formed on the left around 1945 300. The most recent 4-hour resistance formed all the way up to 1969 400. Drop it down to the 4-hour time frame and zooming in, and what we can see again, let's have a look on the left, and what do we see? We have a same level of support. This is actually a range on the hourly, and the recent 1-hour resistance to be adjusted to 1964 800. Excuse me. So dropping down to the 30-minute time frame, and now we have two 30-minute resistances. We have this level and we have this level. So we have 1953 800 and 1956 500. The level of support will probably keep the same level here because we need to allow some sort of a range for price to consolidate before breaking out the range. So looking at the 15-minute time frame, now the 15-minute looks really messy at this level, but the one thing we can notice here is this 15-minute resistance. 15-minute resistance at this level around 1956 500 matches with this 30-minute resistance. And now to identify DNO trades, and I'd say potential buys could potentially be above 1956 500, above this 30-minute resistance. Potential sells could be below 1945 300, and this is going to be DNO trade zone. And now to look for potential buys, and going back to the daily, excuse me. So the thing that I've mentioned here on a weekly, for example, the weekly hasn't really formed the topic, and now since the weekly has been extremely bullish, we might see some sort of a retracement on a weekly, which this retracement would look like a daily candle for Thursday pushing bullish. Now this is completely normal, obviously. So now to look for potential buys, and the first thing we can see on the left here is we have this previous daily support formed around 1972 800. Drop it down to the 4-hour time frame. Now what's interesting here is we have this 4-hour resistance zooming in, and we also have this previous 4-hour support around 1963 100. Drop it down to the hourly time frame, and now we have this previous 1-hour support around 1961 700. Looking at the 30-minute time frame, we have this 30-minute support. We're probably going to stick to the hourly and the 4-hour time frame in here. So what we're going to do here is, I would say the first target for buys could potentially be 1961 700, targeting this previous 1-hour support. And the second target for buys, now we do have this 4-hour resistance at 1969 400. When you drop it down to the hourly, now this is a messy range, and before this range we have this hourly resistance around 1965. So let's adjust this level to 1965 200. Drop it down to the 5-minute time frame. That's the same level of resistance as well. more likely will be the same on the 50-minute time frame. So I would say the second target for buys could potentially be 1965 to 100, targeting this hourly resistance. And the reason why we're keeping those buys short is because of how the current momentum here on a weekly and the daily time frame is bearish. So the anticipation is just to see basically a slight pullback before the continuation to the downside. And now to look for potential sells. And going back to the daily, the first thing, let's actually have a look on a monthly, the weekly. The weekly, the first thing I can identify here is we have this previous weekly resistance formed around 1940 to 100. Dropping down to the daily time frame, we have clean traffic on the left, but we do have a rejection at this level, and we have this previous daily resistance as well. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, zooming in and looking on the left, and what do we see? We have a 4-hour rejection. Looking at the hourly, let's have a look. What do we see on the hourly? Okay, so on the hourly, we have an hourly support at this level around 1938 100. What we're going to do here is, since we have clean traffic on the left, the anticipation here is to see this weekly candle retesting the previous weekly resistance formed on the 3rd of September 2023. So I would say the first target for sales could potentially be 1940 100, targeting this previous weekly resistance. The second target for sells, now zooming in, and the first thing we can see is we have this previous daily resistance around 1934 500. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame and looking on the left, clean traffic on the left, looking at the hourly. On the hourly, what do we see? Let's have a look. No, actually this way. Now, still clean traffic on the left, and then on the 30-minute time frame, clean traffic on the left. What we're going to do here is, again, stick it to the high time frame, and I'd say the second target for sales could potentially be 1934 500, targeting the daily resistance formed on the 19th of September 2023.
Dominion Markets, your trading sanctuary.